Hi everyone, welcome to Programming Horizons. In this video lecture series, I am going to kick off our journey into the world of C++ programming. Starting from the basics, we will cover almost every concept that will help you become highly skilled programmers. So let's get started. First of all, let's understand what is C++. C++ is a general-purpose programming language which was developed by Bjarne Stroustrup in 1980s. The idea was to introduce an extension of another programming language called C, with some additional yet powerful features. In particular, object-oriented programming. C++ emerged as a superset of C programming language. Now let's talk about the applications of C++ programming language. C++ is hugely popular and it finds its applications in various domains. This include development of system programs, and I'm particularly talking about operating systems and device drivers. In addition, it can be used for development of games, graphic libraries, application softwares which include scientific and numerical applications, embedded systems and database systems. Over the years, it has continuously evolved and is still evolving with the inclusion of new features and updates. Its most recent version is C++23, which was launched in 2023. Moving on to the key features of C++, we have static data type checking, which allows you to make sure that whatever data you are entering is compatible with all the other data that is being used in your program, and there is no mismatch in the final result, which leads to some kind of error. And even if some error occurs, there is a mechanism for error reporting and exception handling. In addition, there is a standardized input-output library provided by C++ for handling a variety of inputs and outputs. And finally, it provides memory management features through pointers and references. But the strongest feature of C++ is its object-oriented programming. Object-oriented programming, or OOP concepts that we call them, include classes, objects, encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, and polymorphism. Don't worry if you don't understand any of these terms. You don't need to right now. We will cover them all in later on video lectures. But it is really important to understand that it is because of this object-oriented programming, C++ makes it easier to model real-life concepts, and that is the reason for its popularity. So everyone, we will now be writing our first C++ program. But before that, I would like to recommend that you install some software application that will help you write, debug or test your code. I've already installed dev C++ on my computer, as you can see here, the second icon from the top. This is a freely available open source application software that will provide me integrated development environment. Now, IDE or integrated development environment means you can easily write your code, edit it, debug it, test it, and even run it within the single application. So guys, I have already opened dev C++ on my laptop screen, and as you can see at the top we have the name of the application software written, which is dev C++, along with the version number, which is 5.11. This version number depends upon the latest version available for download. In the second line we have a menu which consists of file, edit, search, and so on. In the third line we have some shortcut icons which we will be making use of later on. So let's start with our first source file. So I'm going to click on file, then I will click new because we are going to create a new source file. So I'll click on source file, and as you can see, a new workspace area is now open in front of me. Here I will be writing my first line of code. The first line of my code is hash include iostream. Basically, this is a direction to the C++ compiler to include a standard library file called iostream, which is input-output stream, into my program so that the program is able to handle input and output. After that, we have to write using namespace std. Now this is a standard collection of names. Std stands for standard, and namespace is a collection of names for all the standard functions, variables, and other objects that are available in C++ programming. So even if you don't understand it, Just remember that these two lines are a must in your every C++ program. Alright, my next statement is int main followed by a pair of round brackets. So this main function will be responsible for executing my program statements. You can think of C++ main function as the main power supply of your home. If the power supply is not there, none of the lights in your home will work. Similarly, if the main function is not there, you cannot run your C++ program code. So it is solely responsible for executing each and every statement of your program. Alright, so this is the syntax of writing main function. You have to first write int, then the name of the main function as main. Just remember that C++ is a case sensitive language, so make sure that you type everything in small letters. After that, a pair of round brackets. Then after that we will add a pair of curly brackets like this. And as soon as I press enter, you can see this turquoise color line. Here I will be writing my statements. So my goal is to include a print statement so that I can print C++ is fun. So in order to print anything in C++, we have to make use of one object called cout. It is pronounced as cout, but it is written as cout. Please make sure that you don't call it as cout or count, otherwise you will get confused. So this cout is an object of iostream file, and that is the reason for including this iostream standard library, because otherwise cout will not work. And I will later on show you why this std was included. Anyway, so cout is followed by a pair of less than symbols. Together these are called as output symbols. So make sure that whenever you are printing anything in C++, the statement always begins with cout and a pair of these two less than signs, also called as output operator. Now my line is C++ is fun, so I will be printing it within double quotation marks. So whenever you have to print any message or a text of line or a word which you want to be shown as it is, make sure that you put it inside double quotation marks. So I'm writing here C++ is fun, and you can add any exclamation mark or full stop. Whatever you are entering within double quotation marks gets displayed as it is. And at the end of this statement I will add a semicolon. This semicolon is an indicator that this line will now terminate. As you can see, I haven't put a semicolon in the first line. That's because by default the syntax of the hash include statement is like this only. There is no need to add a semicolon here. But on the other hand, if we are writing using namespace std, it should always end with a semicolon. Similarly, for main function also, any function definition, in fact every function definition will be having similar structure. There you will have a return type of the function, name of the function followed by parenthesis, then curly bracket, and within those curly brackets you have your statement. So there is no need of semicolon at the end of main function. Alright, so my last line is return 0. Now what does this return 0 means? 0 value will be returned by the compiler to the operating system of your computer if your program runs error free. Alright, since main function is returning an integer, so the return type of main function is int, means it will give back a whole number which is an integer number, and that value will be 0 if your program compiles error free. Alright, let's compile this program before running it. So this is my first program, and before executing it I have to save it. So I'm going to save it as here. I've already chosen one folder and I will just type my program's name. This is my first program, so I will write here program 1. Whatever name you want to enter, you can enter, and make sure that you do not add spaces in the name of the program, otherwise the program will not be saved. Okay, so my program name is program 1, and already its type is C++ or .cpp extension will be used to save it. So after this I will click on save, and this program is now saved. As you can see over here, the name of the program is showing program1.cpp. Now I'm going to execute it. So compilation will work now. So what does this compile mean? Compile means there is a software, or you can say there is a part of your application which is called as compiler, which is responsible for translating the program written by you in this C++ language into a computer understandable format. So during compilation we will also be noticing any syntax errors or any other errors. Those will be reported to us at the bottom like this. So you can see here compile log, 0 errors and 0 warnings. That means my program is error free, and now I'm ready to run. Let's suppose if I skip this semicolon and then try to compile this program. By the way, you can also press F9 on your computer in order to compile your program code. So as soon as I compile it, so now I can see that there is some error. So this error is being reported, and in fact the very interesting thing about this C++ is that the error line number and column number will also be reported to me, so that I can easily locate where my problem lies. So it is showing line number 6, however my error is in line number 5. So here I put semicolon, and now I again compile it, and the program is now error free. So finally I will press F10 or simply click on run. So here my program runs, and as you can see the output is now displaying. It is C++ is fun. So I hope the basic syntax and structure of C++ program is clear to you. Now let me tell you the reason for including using namespace std. Suppose this line is not there, and I now try to compile and run my program. So as you can see, following errors have been reported. First error is that cout was not declared in the scope. That means compiler of the C++ program refuses to identify this cout object, and it says that I should write cout as std followed by 2 colon marks and then cout. So let's try it out. Std, then 2 colon marks and cout. Again I tried to compile and run the code, and you guessed it right, the program is now working. However, if I have more than one cout statements, it would be too tedious for me to print or write std colon marks every time. So instead I can use simply using namespace std to save my time and make sure that my program runs without any errors. Again I compile and execute. So here my program is working. Thank you for your attention. See you in the next video.